Hello you lovely people and welcome to episode 34 of Moviefiles, 100 movies in 100 days, and today we're going to do the lovely movie Judge Dredd. Okay, it's not that lovely. It was made in 95, of course, by Sylvester Stallone, who thought he could take a character and, his words, he made it Hamlet on eggs. I think he made it Hamlet on defecating penis, in my words, because this film was a total utter piece of shit. But we can go into that after we talk about the story of the movie and why I think this movie just missed the boat in terms of Judge Dredd, the character, and in terms of how Hollywood can take a source material that was made popular by English comics and totally and utterly shit on it. I mean, take a big hot steaming dump, because that's what they did with this movie. I'm not even going to lie. The fact that the 2012 movie Dredd didn't do as well as this really annoyed me. It got to the point where I felt that Carl Urban had a better portrayal of Dredd than Stallone, so we can talk about that in a little bit, and I probably will end up reviewing the Carl Urban vehicle later on and actually do a comparison between this review and that one later, so let's kick it off. This is an Americanized sci-fi action movie that was actually directed by Danny Cannon, starring Sly Stallone, Diane Lane, Rob Schneider and Max von Sydow. The film is loosely based on the comic strip of the same name and features the one huge scene where he takes off his helmet that really pissed Dredd fans off.
The evidence has been falsified! It's impossible! I never broke the law! I am the law!
I mean, to the point where people wanted to go and kill him over this. The fact that he insulted the character so much, something that is actually based on comic nerddom, to the point where nerds just wanted to lynch this guy when they saw him, shows you how much people hated this movie. But again, let's go on to the story. In the third millennium, much of the world has become an uninhabitable wasteland.
But Wagner, you created a monster.
No, not Graceland. We're not going to go back into Rhinestone again. I swear I will kill a motherfucker. No Rhinestone. The majority of humanity basically resides in huge mega cities. And the traditional system of cops and judges and judicial system has been replaced by judges. These individuals who go around and they will kill you for dropping litter. I mean, to the point where they will deem you, they will judge you, and they will put a cap in your ass. What? Okay, I promise I'll never do that again. Judge Dredd, who assists Judge Hershey, played by Diane Lane, in destroying a block war, and then sent hacker Herman Ferguson, who is played by Rob Schneider. Yep, that Rob Schneider, the guy who likes to take his kit off and jiggle his bits to replace a fish, because he was caught in a firefight. He then hides in the food dispensing robot, only to be arrested by Dredd. Yep, that's how easy people get it. You hide in a food dispensing robot, you're going to prison, motherfucker. And he's sentenced for 5 years for tampering with city property. Rico, played by Armand Assante, a former judge turned into psychopath, escapes from prison and reclaims his lawgiver gun and his uniform, if you can call it that. I call it a piece of shit. And also a decommissioned cobot robots that was taken from the 2000 AD spread for some weird reason, and incorporated into Judge Dredd for another weird reason. A news reporter then critical of Dredd is then murdered. Dredd is then the chief suspect in this murder because his prints are all over the place, even though he didn't do it. Hershey then acts as Dredd's lawyer, even though the fact that she basically fails to defend him. Dredd then goes to prison and then stands and has his whole thing about, "You are the law, I am the law. You are the law, I am the law." That's exactly line for line. That's word for word. I swear that's word for word. You want to see? Alright, fine. I'll show you the actual clip.
The evidence has been falsified! It's impossible! I never broke the law! I am the law!
See? Word for word. Did I lie? No, I didn't. There you go. Can we I just want to get on with it. Look, seriously, do we really need to banter about this? It's word for word. Let's get on with the freaking plot synopsis, okay? Thank you. As we said, Dredd is actually found guilty from DNA evidence, as a lawgiver imprints the DNA on every round fired. So basically, this wouldn't be a Zimmerman trial. Yes, I went there. Fargo then steps down as chief judge and asks for the rest of the High Council to basically spare Dredd's life and just send him into prison. The council agrees. Fargo then embarks on his law walk. Apparently it's a tradition met by judges who step down. He then basically walks into the cursed earth wasteland where the lawless, but basically there's a lot of sodomy going on, so we can go on to that one. Griffin, who basically had Dredd framed for murder, then succeeds him as the head judge, and then instructs Rico to basically go throughout the city and kill every motherfucker that he sees, because that's what he do. No, I'm not playing the Mark Henry clip. I've done this about 3 different episodes. We're not doing this now. Okay, let's just... Seriously, why do you guys keep bugging me about this? I'm not playing it. Let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going and get through this piece of shit. Dredd finds himself basically seated next to Armand Ferguson, who does a very funny impression of him. It was like the best thing that Rob Schneider has ever done in his entire life. Watch the... I'll show you the clip. It's hilarious. Exactly that. That's so funny. It was the best part of this movie, but the rest is just downhill. So the ship basically is transporting each individual to the Aspen penal colony. Whilst passing through the cursed earth, the ship is then shot down by the Angel Gang, and then a family of cannibalistic scavengers who basically tried to take Dredd and Herman and eat them with a nice Chianti. Yes, I'm going to play that clip.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Okay, we got that out of the way. We can continue, because cannibalism isn't a great thing unless they deserved it, because they kind of did. I wish they were eaten and the film ended. A squad of judges tracks Dredd to the Angels' camp, and then a battle ensues, because that's what happens in a movie like this. People try to bloom, 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 shoot each other and, make it look awesome. Fogger then arrives just in time to save Dredd's life, and then reveals to Dredd the secret of his past and the fact that his connection between him and Rico, because apparently the DNA of the council judges was combined to create 2 clones. One was Dredd and one was Rico. That makes them brothers, hence the whole Hamlet remark, because then the judges, the council are his fathers, and he then did a play apparently, and his uncle slept with his mother. Okay, it's nothing like Hamlet. I don't know what Stallone was talking about. Dredd realises that Rico framed him for the murder, and Fargo deduces that Griffin is basically trying to start the Janus project. It's project, I think. He then begs Dredd to stop him, which Dredd replies that he will do, because he's the law. I'm the law. Rico then creates panic, assaulting 108 judges in 2 days, and Griffin then convinces the other judges to unlock the Janus files because of the mass genocide that's occurring. Again, just like Hamlet. I swear that's how Shakespeare wrote it. They then apply, and then he murders every single one of the judges, because now he gets what he wants, so, Griffin then accuses Dredd and Herman of murdering the council after they just arrived. Again, pretty much Hamlet, just how Shakespeare wrote it. Hershey then arrives, and Dredd and Hershey basically fend off the rest of the judges, and then he tells her about the Janus project, which is located in a laboratory in the Statue of Liberty. They then go there. Rico then betrays Griffin and has him killed by the robot, and then basically puts his own DNA to activate the Janus clones. Herman uses his spectacular hacking skills and knowledge of pole dancing to basically help Dredd and Hershey and rescue them from the robot. He does an excellent butt clench in this. Rico tries to get the clones activated prematurely, and because of that they basically look like disgusting melting thingies. They then try to stop Dredd as Dredd dispatches of them. Rico and Dredd then have their final fight, which sees Rico falling from the Statue of Liberty. Oh, poor guy. The Central City computer records the entire broadcast on file, basically, rectifying the whole situation and clearing Dredd's name. Dredd is then offered the position of High Chief of the Council. He then turns it down, stating that he belongs going on the streets and being a judge, because that's what Dredd did. And then the movie ends. Thank God, because it was gut-wrenching. This movie actually was produced on a 90 million budget and made 113 million back. So it basically broke even. Didn't do as well as it should have done, knowing the name, etc. But it also, I believe, put a negative stigma on the character, because Stallone tried to act too much with this movie. I mean, to the point where it got ridiculous. This was like RoboCop, but if Peter Weller just stood there as RoboCop and tried to do sonnets. It was terrible. Rob Schneider was the best thing in this movie because he made me laugh a couple of times, but the fact that this just atrocity occurred really, really annoyed me. It looked like something to boost Stallone's ego rather than to actually portray the character of Dredd correctly. Let's go into the characters a little bit and talk about Stallone as Dredd. Well, he wasn't Dredd, and Dredd doesn't act the way that Stallone did. He's very a cold-hearted creature. He has no emotion. He's very dark, and he seems to just do his job and loves doing his job. He never acts. He never seems like an emotional guy. He'll never break down into tears. He'll never sit there and tell you about how much he loves his family. He's Dredd, and I think Stallone kind of tried to trying to humanize a character that was rather. He kind of never got redeemed to be that kind of a character. He never was that. He's not Superman. He's not Batman. He doesn't have a moral compass. Dredd is this enigma, and hence the reason why people got pissed with this movie. Also the fact that he took off the fucking helmet. Seriously, you want to show people that you're awesome, that you look good and everything. Why don't you play one of the other judges? Why did you have to be Dredd? It was annoying, and it got to the fact where this movie was gut-wrenching to the point of stupidity. It boggles the mind. And the fact that he had this clone Rico that was causing all this havoc, fair enough, it was a bit far-fetched. And the whole simplistic ending of, well, the computer recorded it, so obviously my name's cleared now, so yeah, look, I can go off in the streets and be a judge again. They had no understanding of the world, the background, the characters. And that's where I felt the problem lies. If you want to see a far better Judge Dredd movie, again, watch Dredd. This movie was just terrible. Diane Lane didn't even know who Judge Hershey was. Again, she just played it as in, I'm Judge Hershey. That's it. I'm Diane Lane being Judge Hershey. She didn't play the character to a T. She had no clue. And again, research would have gone a long way for this movie. And Mega City 1 was supposed to be slums and tower. But that's another thing that got on my nerves. The fact that it looked like a fucking palace. It was too stylized, too, I wouldn't even say steampunk to a sense. It just seemed like they tried to overly big budget a cast of characters, even the setting, to the point where it just didn't look right. And the fact that this movie still has a fan following really scratched me. It boggles my mind. As a standalone movie, yeah, if you take away Dredd, if you take away the characters, if you take away anybody in this movie could have been the Stallone vehicle's Demolition Man. There was not much to differ this from Dredd, and truthfully, Demolition Man made a far better Dredd than Dredd did. So there you go. And again, I'm not talking about the 2012 movie with Carl Urban, I'm talking about the Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone. Nothing compares to that, because that movie was awesome, and I really do hope they make a second one. And also the fact that the costumes just looked really silly. They were designed by Gianni Versace, so they can look at where the budget came from. It was ridiculous. They didn't need that much glitter and glamour. You're painting shit. You're painting something that's supposed to be rotten, that's supposed to be in depth, that's supposed to be literally a movie about humanity's downfall, and instead you put glitter on it. So there you go. And this was proven by John Wagner, who, the creator of the comic, was interviewed in Empire in 2012 and basically stated that the movie had nothing to do with Judge Dredd and that it wasn't considered a Judge Dredd movie. Stallone wasn't playing the character. They had no idea who the fuck this character was, but it wasn't Dredd. So there we go, mates. Let's go to the score, of course, where we go from a 1 to 5, and 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. I give this movie a 2. Just for the fact that Rob Schneider alone made it watchable. And I'm not even fucking kidding. Rob Schneider saved this movie. So there you go, guys. Want to see a good Dredd movie? As I said, check out Dredd. If you want to watch this movie, you can do. If you want to reminisce about the 90s and Stallone's really bad film career at points. He's had some good films, but he's been in really, really bad movies. And this movie I count in the same level as Rhinestone. Because Rhinestone was and this was a... So there you go. I'm really exhausted with the fact that I had to do so many bad Stallone movies in one gulp, to the point where I just don't want to see this movie ever again. And it's also just the fact that I'm a comic book nerd, so I hate this movie with a passion. And being a fellow Brit as well, where 2080 actually came from, I just feel like I want to tear my throat out, delete myself out of existence after watching this piece of shit, because it was a steaming pile piece of shit. But there you go, guys, and that's another movie file done. Check back for episode 34, where I'll be reviewing a better movie, a far better movie, in Rambo. And make sure that you check out Mega Powers Radio for I Got Gameplay, Geek Speak, the Daceman Show, and also check out for the Monday Night Raw post show and the pay-per-view show. and also debuting with us, or should I say re-debuting, because they were on Dream Elite and now are going to be on Mega Pals Radio, Keeping Kayfabe with myself, Mike Payden and Brandon Ligan, as we basically talk wrestling. So check that out, guys. And as always, stay tuned for another movie file, and like, comment and subscribe, because if you don't like, comment and subscribe, I can't do any more of these videos, and you really want to see more of me because I'm so beautiful and I'm so lovely, and then you really want to see myself and my accent and how gorgeous I am. So make sure that you check that out, guys. So I'll see you again for another movie file. Ta for now.